Welcome to another product demonstration of Exponent Faces. Today we're going to review the face matching functionality in this new extension. In particular, we're going to show you how you can manage face enrollment, which is an important process in the face matching process. We begin here by creating a new case file in where we have loaded some sample photos. To illustrate the content of our case file, I'll switch to gallery view so you can quickly see what's in our case. Now, the purpose of today's exercise is to extract some faces, extract as many faces as we can, and also match one or more faces from this library. To begin, we need to check off what files we want to be part of our scan, and then we'll proceed to run our extension from here. When the launchpad appears, we can move to selecting the Faces extension here off to the right. And in a minute, we'll have our main window appear. Since we are only working with photographs, the Video Actions option can be set to do nothing. And in order for us to be able to detect or match faces, we need to select option 2 here. Now, it's detected that we have enrolled faces from a prior search. It's asking us if we want to reload that. We'll come back to this feature later, but for now we're going to say no. Next, we move on to the next step and we'll leave the defaults where they are, and then we arrive at the face matching options. Now, on this step, we need to populate our window with the faces we want to look for among the other evidence in our case file. There's a couple of ways to manage this window. We can add a file or add a folder. So let's start with adding a file. When we add the file option, we can select an individual file, but we can also hold down the control key and select more than one file. In this case here, I'm just going to select one, and it can have multiple subjects. The great thing about Exponent Faces, it'll pull out as many faces that it can find. So once our faces are loaded, you'll notice right away that the file names below each face are representative of the files that we just selected. In addition, you'll notice that each one is check marked. Now, the reason why we have a check mark is because we could have a big library here of faces, and for the search that we're currently working on, we may want to only select a handful of faces. So the check marking is an important step. While we're here, we have the option to rename these faces with a label. We call this a label, and this is exactly the same concept as the label feature in the underlying X-Ways Forensics user interface. So we're going to give both faces a name, and then we're going to pause for just a second. We're going to draw our attention to the top here where we have two buttons, Manage Cache and Empty Cache. Empty Cache is exactly what it says, but here we're going to manage the cache. So we've added some faces. Now we're going to manage that content. You'll see right away that the Windows Explorer opens up to the enrolled subfolder within our case directory. And you'll see that the actual faces are given the same file name as the original files where they came from. We can close this window. Now, the next step is to move forward in our configuration for our search. Now, something happened as soon as I clicked on that button. Let's go back a step and let's see what happened. When we go back to the Manage Case or Cache, we see that this new file has been created, the enrolled text file. When we bring this up, we can see that we have the name of our first face and the label that we associated. So this is important. If we wanted to change that, we could do it again here. We can call her Michelle. Now watch what happens when I manage the cache and go back to that file. It'll still say Angela. And the reason being is that this enrolled file doesn't get created until you move to the next step. So when we go back and then we bring open this file, you'll see that it's changed to Michelle. And so I'm going to move forward here, and let's go ahead and search for faces, and we'll wait this out. It'll only take a few seconds to go through all the files. So what we're going to do is we're going to look for those two faces, and you can see here right away we have some results. Top right corner, we have 3 hits on Michelle, we have 7 hits on Keith. So once it's done, we can click OK, and we can click Close, and now we're back to our main interface. And when we click on it, we now have some dots, and the dots obviously depict child objects. If we start with, say, this one here, and we double click, we see that it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we will get some false positives periodically. In this case here, at least we got the faces, and that's the important part. You'll see here on face number 3, however, there's a 1, and that indicates there's a child object. If you look to the right, in the labels column, we see faces, female, face matches, and Michelle. And these all represent the different labels that have been created after our search. If I want to see the face that was matched against this one here, we can double click on it, and here's the actual sample 5, and that's a match. So the word matched means this is the actual face from our enrollment window. Now if we want to run this again, I will just point out something pretty cool. We had this library, this enrollment library already created, and now this time when we run the program and we select detect and match faces like before, we're going to be prompted, do you want to use the prior enrollment cache? We're going to say yes this time. And you'll see that once we get to this next step, there is our enrollment folder. And again, it's nothing more than these contents right here. So by showing you this, it's entirely possible to create your own custom library and drop them in here. Now, why or how might I do that? Well, it's very simple. Technically, what you could do is go through your entire case file and pull out all the faces in your case file. And then you could selectively choose a handful of photos, drop them in a folder in your computer, and then load them into Exponent Faces to create your own library. So hopefully that explains the power behind face enrollment. You can create custom libraries. Again, when you actually get there, you can just drop it into that subfolder and make copies and custom libraries. So that explains the face matching and face enrollment features in Exponent Faces. And appreciate your time and look forward to seeing you in a future video.